What are some harmless ways to mess with people? When you shake someone's hand, move yours left to right. As they do the traditional up and down, a hilarious circle ensues. I put a tiny piece of masking tape over my coworker's mouse laser on April Fool's Day one year, wrote April Fool's on it. He troubleshot every single thing except examining the mouse. He eventually called IT, who simply turned the mouse over and pointed it out to him. There was a story on Reddit a while back where a guy was refilling his wife's ketchup bottle so that it was constantly almost empty. For months, years, she would use the same bottle, and he waited for the day she noticed that it never emptied. She bounced the bottle off his head when he revealed his game. If you ever have a moment with their computer or cell phone, use their search engine to look for a bunch of nonsense products and then erase the search history. The algorithm will think they have an interest in said products and put a bunch of ads recommending them for the next few days. When at work, tell someone, "I'm going to the bathroom, do you need anything?" Buy a set of voice-activated or motion-activated stickers from Amazon, and the possibilities are endless. I'm a huge fan of just handing somebody something without any explanation and walking away. I saw someone on Facebook comment on a picture that the three of you look great. There were 4 people in the picture. Oh man, do I have a story. In my freshman year of college, my roommate was a very neat and orderly person. He had every pencil in place, every paper had a folder, and his things got neatly packed away. We were pretty amicable towards one another, even with my messy living. At first, when he would leave for classes, I would admire how tidy his desk was and thought to myself I should mess with that. For the whole year we lived together, I would sneak use staples everywhere on his stuff. Homework folder? Staple. Pencil case? Staple. Backpack? Staple. Shower caddy? You bet that pube-infested bar of soap got a staple on it. Hell, even the TV remote got a staple in it between the batteries, so when they died he would eventually find another. I did it often but was careful to space the staple events far enough apart to not raise suspicion on myself. I further protected myself by making a huge deal of having to borrow the across-the-hall neighbor's stapler whenever I needed to bind papers together. About March of our second semester he had become insanely suspicious of anybody with a stapler and watched them like a hawk. The straw that broke the camel's back, I had asked him one night what his plans were under the guise of having a companion over for a visit. He said after dinner he had to go check out some obscure book at the library. When he left and headed to the dining hall, I snuck off to the library, found the obscure book he needed, and clicked a staple into it. He gets back to the dorm room and I'm doing homework in the same spot when he had left an hour earlier, claiming the meetup didn't end up happening. He sits down at his desk and opens up his newly rented book, and I hear that staple fall out onto his desk. All I hear after that is, "Yo, where the friggity fuck are all these goddamn staples coming from?" I revealed myself after graduation when I mailed him a birthday card with a used staple in it. Thankfully he got the biggest kick out of the card and we still talk daily. When driving I like to wave at random people as if I knew them. Hilarious to see instant confusion on their faces. When I was little, my mom let my sister invite one of her friends on vacation with us. When we were driving, my sister's friend said, "I've got an idea." Both she and my sister had long hair, so my sister's friend took out a brush, brushed both of their hair in front of their faces, then each put on sunglasses. My mom stopped at a traffic light, and at the same time, my sister and her friend turned to the car next to us. This woman happened to look over and I watched her jaw drop that she was coming face to face with not one, but 2 seemingly cousinets. Then I watched this person start cracking up. We were the first car and the light changed right at that moment. The best part was my sister and her friend keeping their composure and not turning away from the person as we pulled away. When someone knocks on the public washroom door, respond with "Come in." If someone asks for your name, saying something like, "Jack," but with only one P. It's Dave, but without the F, there's no F in Dave, I know, that's what I said. I mess with colleagues during meetings by controlling how they sit. You copy everything they do to start, they lean back, you lean back, etc. Then, slowly, take the lead. If they are sitting back, sit forwards. I have managed to start mini Mexican waves of people moving back and forth in meetings. We did this to a friend. I noticed when she bought her house, she had some prints in her kitchen of lemons, 2 prints. That was all I needed. I went to a charity shop and bought maybe 20 cheap picture frames, then Googled lemon art and printed them in color at work. My friend's birthday, we were outdoors, and it began to rain, and the plan was to go to her house. I made my excuses and hopped in a taxi home to drop off my stuff, and to pick up a literal box of lemon pictures. We coordinated. My friend let me in, and I began ninjaing through her house, dropping and hanging lemon pictures throughout her house. Sneaking into a crowded room and, this is the piece de resistance, setting up a photo of her, delightedly holding an armful of lemon and limes my friend had taken weeks before. And then, we wait. At a later point in the night I bumped into someone I'd never met before, and he said in a hushed tone, "Have you noticed she seems to be obsessed with lemons?" And I had to admit, conspiratorially, that was something that had piqued my curiosity too. Practically every room in her house was partially lemon themed. That's my favorite prank I ever pulled off. Don't turn around when you walk into a lift, elevator, and ask them if they are ready to take this to the next level. Conversely, turn around too much. Just stand in the corner and rotate 90 degrees every 4 to 5 seconds or so. My friend was logged into his Twitter on my tablet, so I kept changing his profile picture to a banana. He thought someone hacked him and tweeted about it. I replied to the tweet using his profile. It got so bad he was arguing with himself on Twitter. After giving a compliment, say no offense and watch them struggle to find the non-existent insult. Mail someone a red golf ball every week for a while. Then mail them a green golf ball and stop. Whenever I visit my extended family across the country, I bring a bag full of random remotes that I don't use anymore. Just random remotes that go to old DVRs or anything really. Just hide them around their house, they only recently caught on. It works best if you are standing, but use your judgment. Gradually lower the volume of your voice. Others will match your volume and they tend to move closer. Wait for your moment and just start speaking in a normal or slightly louder than normal voice. This one is harmless but occasionally can drive someone mad. My mom has a bunch of framed family photos hanging on a wall. One day I was visiting, I took them all down and scanned them with a little hand scanner. I photoshopped small changes on them, removed some people from some photos, added a couple of celebrities in the background, etc. Print them out and replace them a few days later. I can't forget her face when she realized it was me and she was not losing it. When you're talking to someone, just keep handing them random items. They'll just keep taking them without realizing it. Keep correcting them on the pronunciation of your name, even when they are saying it correctly every time. My neighbor got an expensive new camera for his front door. Randomly, for the last several months, I have covered myself in a black cloak, including face, crawled up into camera view, and left a random harmless object. A carrot, spool of thread, 3 ink pens with the caps mixed up, dumb meaningless things. On camera, a dark shape appears and disappears, leaving a random object behind. It is driving his silly ass crazy. Say no pun intended after a sentence where there was clearly no pun. If someone says no pun intended, I always respond with "oh, none taken," and enjoy seeing them confused. I was talking with a supervisor and I happened to have like 4 hard-boiled eggs in my jacket pocket for lunch. So while talking with stuff, I took out an egg, cracked and shelled it and ate it. The conversation kept going, so I did it again, but I could see he was growing quizzical. I waited a few more minutes, pulled out another and ate that too. By then I could tell he was like, WTF. The conversation was wrapping up, so I pulled the last one out and he stopped mid-conversation and asked me, "How many friggity fucking eggs do you have?" I just shrugged, shelled, and then ate the last egg. When I was a corrections officer, we had a guy who worked with us who was kind of a dick to everyone, and he was computer illiterate. We took a screenshot of his desktop and moved all of his icons off of it so it looked legit, but nothing worked. It took him an hour before he finally called IT and they figured it out pretty quickly. He wouldn't talk to any of us for about a week. Oh no. Take it to the next level. Screenshot desktop. Flip photo upside down in Paint. Hide all icons. Set screenshot as wallpaper. Flip entire display 180 degrees in display settings. Not only is nothing working, but the mouse is moving totally opposite of your inputs. Every few months I drive by my buddy's truck parked at his work, and think, yay, today is the day to mess with him. I'll open the tailgate or maybe fold a single mirror. Sometimes I'll just raise one windshield wiper so it waves hello to him as he walks out after a long day. He's been complaining about it to me for years. I just smile and say, you should put up cameras. A friend of mine, ours, is a master practical joker. He sold his truck to his brother and then about a year later he found the spare key. He lived more than an hour away from his brother but frequently had to go to his brother's city for evening meetings. After late meetings, our friend would drive to his brother's house, in a townhouse complex with lots of parking areas, and move the truck. Sometimes it would be just over a space or two, sometimes quite far away, and a couple of times he parked it in the grass in front of his house. He quit this game when he found out that their grandmother had been paying the brother's medical bills, including CTs and MRIs, because his brother thought he had a brain tumor. My favorite thing to do at my coffee shop job is wait until we have a line, tell the first few customers to have a good day loudly enough for the rest of the line to hear, and then tell exactly one customer enjoy your drink instead. 90% of the time they hit me with "Hey you too," and I just smile and nod, content in the knowledge that they'll cringe about that for the rest of the day. Mail them a flip-flop or a tortilla. No package box, just stamps directly on it, no return address. I am trying to find the right person to pull this prank on. Pretend to be their aging great Aunt Joan. Send them $5 on their birthdays, $20 for Christmas. Make sure to mention something personal about their lives so they know it's not a mistake. Then after a few years of this, purchase a really ugly, old painting and send it to their home with a notification that Joan left it to them in her will, hoping they will cherish it as she had. Never admit to being the one that did it. Oh, just remembered my favorite. I bring things to yard sales. It's easy. Just walk up and ask how much is this? Then act like that was too much, and put it down. My girlfriend just about died laughing when I did this the first time. It's much more fun than taking your stuff to Goodwill. Look at their forehead, ear, or chin during the entire conversation. Call in sick to a place you don't work. At the deli, ask for the most human tasting meat they have. Go to the grocery store and ask for gomber. You know, it's kind of red, and you put it on mayo sandwiches. Ask if they like your perfume and get them to smell your neck, wrist, ankle, or other body part. Don't actually be wearing any perfume. Some guy on Quora had this genius idea. Grab a highlighter, and randomly highlight one name on a public list, attendance, lunch money, extracurricular classes, whatever. You won't get to see it, but some poor fellow will silently lose their mind trying to figure out why their name is highlighted. A lady in my office wouldn't stop talking about gaslighting and people who were gaslighting. So we told her it was actually called gaslamping and she has the term wrong. Took a bit of convincing, but she started using that term and telling everyone else they were wrong too. A week later we changed it back to gaslighting. I used to hum an off-pitch note in orchestra rehearsals while the violins were getting their tuning note. When in an elevator with strangers, or just walking through a lobby, casually look down and say, "Oh wow, they really did a good job getting the blood out." Something I did in high school, I randomly found a half of a crayon on the ground. I managed to slip it into the pocket of a guy I knew. A few minutes later he discovered said crayon and rather loudly said, "What the fuck?" and tossed it away. I wandered over, picked it up, and snuck it back into his pocket when he wasn't paying attention. A few minutes go by and he finds it again. Even more confused, he throws it again and wanders off. I managed to repeat the situation twice more before I couldn't stop laughing and he noticed me going to pick it up. He was really starting to question his sanity by the end. Other things you can do: fill a gas can with water and punch a hole in the bottom. Then walk down the street smoking a cigar. Fill an inflated date with helium and chase it down the street yelling, "Come back you tramp." Fill a large mayonnaise jar with vanilla pudding and sit someplace eating it with a spoon. A girl was reading a horror book, but she was scared of it and threw it in the river, lake, sea, whatever. I bought the same book, held it under the tap and put it back in her drawer. I have a twin brother. As kids, one of us would walk up to somebody and say, "Wake up, you are dreaming," and run. The other one, who was waiting at a corner, would go up to the same person and say, "Why haven't you woken up already?" Yes, we were mischievous. Change office chairs with other people if they are similar styles. If it's a chair someone has used for a while, their ass is used to sitting in it and they will know something is wrong but not enough to know what's going on. 2 to 3 month rotation before doing again. Also, tell your IT person that your printer is printing things upside down, then just show them a paper upside down. Always gets a giggle.